Okay, Sister Mariam's question from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She says, is it permissible for us to give the person we meet, and we only think that we'll meet her for one time, can we give her the mushaf?
I hope the answer is yes, because we've been doing that for a lot of years. And but the one who really got excited about this was Ahmed Didat. And may Allah have mercy upon him, bless him, and keep him, give him Jannah, Ameen. Because he was one of the first people to really promote the idea of getting the Quran in the English language. He had the Abdullah Yusuf Ali translation, I think. When I was in South Africa with IPCI, they wanted me to take that position that he had filled, you see, and I said, there's no way I could ever be in the shadow of this man. But one of the things that I did when I sat at his desk, I held that Quran of his in my hands. And I just realized how important it is to get the message out to every single person. And that is Allah's word. We don't have the right to keep it back. But I would like for you to comment on that, because I know you've been putting out a lot of Qurans too.
As the sister asked the question, that when we meet a person and we have a couple of hours, what should we do?
Exactly.
Should we give the Quran?
Excellent.
There are various ways of doing da'wah. Some are less effective, some are more effective. First thing what I do is when I meet a non-Muslim, is I ask her or him upfront, what do you feel is wrong with Islam? Because even if you speak 1,000 good points about Islam, that person will say, yes, Islam has got these 1,000 good points, but it's the same Muslim who marry more than one woman. You are the same people who are terrorists. You are a fundamentalist. What I do, and these few negative points at the back of his mind will prevent him from accepting the beauty of Islam. So whenever I meet a non-Muslim, I ask him upfront, what do you feel is wrong with Islam? With your limited knowledge, whether right or wrong, what do you feel is wrong? And I make them comfortable, that you can attack Islam, you can criticize the Quran. What do you feel is wrong? You tell us. And after we make them comfortable, they pose about 3 or 4 questions. And in the experience that I have for the past couple of decades, they pose about 3 or 4 questions which invariably fall amongst the 20 most common questions. So first, when the cup is filled, if you pour in, it will overflow. So empty the cup and then pour in. So when you remove that few doubts which are there in their mind, then even if you speak maybe 5 or 10 good points about Islam, they're accepted. So my first point is, I remove the negative point that they have about Islam.
Yeah.
And then speak the good points.
That's
and
very smart.
As far as the question is concerned, can you give them a musaf? I feel you should take the opportunity. You should not lose any opportunity. You should, because what the Quran can do is wonders.
This is basically the thought of the main principle of the deen, which is Tawheed. Allah begins by saying negation.
La.
Affirmation.
La ilaha.
La ilaha.
Yes.
Then illallah. And if you don't mind, I have something to share here, which is, we do learn from the invitees. We do learn from the people whom we give them da'wah. I was once giving a lecture to some new Muslims as well as guests who have not accepted Islam yet. And I raised the question of how did you come to Islam? So that it would inspire the new people, the guests, to take the opportunity to learn about Islam. So one of the audience said, basically, I have seen somebody carrying a nicely decorated book. The cover was a hardcover and it has gold writing in it, and it was kind of strange to me. So I asked him, what is it? And he said, that is the Quran. This is how I was introduced to the Quran, and this is how I was attracted to read the Quran. So I remember once I was flying back from California to Texas, and at the lounge there was a bunch of cheerleaders, and you know what I mean. And they were so disturbing, so I just had to step away, because I couldn't just sit in the same area with those guys, with those girls. And I was shocked when we got to board the plane that I happened to be sitting in the middle of them, surrounded with the cheerleaders.
Was this Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? Never mind, keep going.
I was really offended, and here we're talking about almost 4 hours flight. I didn't know what to do. Laughing, screaming, and shouting, playing around, and I was sitting in the middle of them, in the last 4 or 5 seats. So I remember this idea of one of the invitees when he said that. I saw the glitter of the cover of the Quran, so I wanted to read it. Then immediately I had, not the Quran, rather the book of Riyadus Salihin, Gardens of the Pious. I had it in my backpack. So I pulled it out and I waved with it. I did that deliberately. And once I just opened it, and one of the girls who was sitting next to me saw this writing and the calligraphy on the cover of the book. You, Sheikh Yusuf, you should expect what's going to happen. She screamed and said, wow, what is this? I said, well, it does work. To myself, obviously. And I started this opportunity, and believe me, Dr. Zakir, the next maybe 3 hours, we were talking about Islam. And the girls in the front seat turned around to listen, and everybody was listening. So now they asked for a copy. How can we get a copy of that? This, what I'm trying to say is, it is not by taking the initiative and shoving the medicine down the throat and saying, you got to take it to become a Muslim. So, same way, same mentality. If you tell somebody, take the Quran, you're going to read, you're going to be convinced, and you'll accept Islam. So basically, you're telling him not to read it, because if you read it, there's some sort of magic, you will turn to Islam. No, this is not the way. Rather, I will discuss the idea and the ideology, the mentality, the belief that I have, why and where from. If they have any objections or misconceptions, like you said, I say, you know what, you can find the answer to all of that in this book. If it is only 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we need to focus, number one, if we have a very short time, whether we have a short time or a long time, we need to focus, number one, on the concept of Tawheed. Not to talk about, we pray 5 times.
Oneness of God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.